Okay, so for this video, I'm going to be going through a few of the exercises from 3.3.2. And these should look pretty close and similar to a number of the problems that you're going to have for homework. So I'd recommend if you get stuck on one of your homework problems, find one of these problems that looks similar to your homework, and then go back and see how I'm doing it, and more or less learn by brute copying. And yeah, you have to replace some letters, obviously, but that's one strategy for approaching this. So let's start with A. A is going to be a mix of universal and existential quantifiers. So let's start with premise 1. And premise 2. And our goal with A Alright, so since we see that we have an existential, we know that we're going to have to do a subproof in order to reach our goal. So let's go ahead and start an assumption for the sake of EE. And we'll break those down. Then we can go back and do one with UE. Modus ponens, and then a and introduction later. We can see that we're at the step that would come right before being able to do EI. So we can do our EI, replace all the A's with an X. And then we need to close out our EE. So we reiterate what we wrote on the last line. We set our 3 lines, 2, 3, 9 EE. And for the assumption numbers, and we can see that this is another instance in which we didn't come back to our existential claim in line 2 until all the way at the end. Let's go on to B. And this one should also take about 10 lines. Our goal is going to be actually the same goal as last time. Our goal is going to be to prove existential x, fx, and not hx. Then we'll start off with a universal claim and an existential claim. Since we have an existential claim, we need to start an assumption for the sake of EE. And then we'll break that apart. Then we can go back and do our UE, HA, arrow, GA. That'll give us negation HA. That's going to be from 5 and 6, and this is a MTT this time instead of MPP. Then we need to put the FA and the negation HA together. 4, 7, and introduction. Then we can do EI. So with EI, we're going to write EX, FX, and negation HX. So what we've done is we've replaced the A with an X in each case. 8 EI, but we're still within an EE subproof. So we need to reiterate what we just wrote. Then we cite our line for the existential claim, line where we made the assumption for the sake of EE, and the line right before this, 9. Write down EE. Now to our assumption numbers. Let's get a 1, 2, and a 3, 3, 3, 1, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1, 2, and 3, discharge the 3. And again, this is one where our existential assumption number didn't come all the way back into the proof until the very end. Let's go ahead and do C. C has the exact same goal as before. This one should take 11 lines this time. Our start for universal claim and our existential claim. Since we have an existential claim, we're going to have to do an assumption for the sake of EE. Break those two pieces apart. Then we can do our UE for line 1. Now we can't do modus tollens yet because in line 5, GA is not the opposite, or it's not the negation of negation GA. So we're going to have to do the double negation on line 5. Then we can do MTT. And we have to discharge outside of our EE. Write down the existential line, the line where we introduced our assumptions, and the line right before this, and write EE. For the assumption numbers, we have a 1, a 2, and a 3. 2 3s, a 1, a 3, a 1 and a 3, a 1 and a 3, 1 and a 3, then a 1, a 2, and a 3, and we discharge the 3. Notice again that our second line assumption didn't come back until the very end, and that's pretty common. It doesn't always happen that way, but it is fairly common to happen that way. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video since there's 3 more to do for the next video and I don't want to make this video run long. So what I did here is I did A, B, and C from the optional exercises for 3.3.2. The next video will be looking at D, E, and G, and most of these follow the exact same form. You start an EE, break the EE down, introduce a UE, namely a UE for one of your given assumptions that was a universal claim, stick 2 things together, do an EI, and then do EE. And if you follow this strategy, you should be able to do most of the homework problems from that section.